ministries right here at the Bob Center. We're being here, and we thank those that are with us via Facebook. We are again at the Bob Center, 644 East on 79th Street. On today being January the 14th, 2018. We thank everybody for being here, and we await our minister that's going to come with a part 2 of his message on last week dealing with COINTELPRO. So brothers and sisters, strap yourself in, as they used to say back in the day, put your thinking caps on, because we're going to take a journey back in the past so that we may understand the future. So please stand to your feet and welcome to the podium our leader teaching guide, Brother Minister Raheem Kased Akim. Put your hands together.
Attention. Present order. Arms. Original salute.
Black power.
Original salute.
Black power.
Original salute.
Black power.
As you were.
Black power is defined as the power to define, power to develop, and the power to defend that which is in the best interest of black people. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, he who made time to see the universe. He's known among ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Ati, among the Hebrews as Ansaf, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari. I bear witness, I truly bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one Almighty God. And it is to him whom I give praise and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that I'm talking about the descendants, the children of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade. I'm boldly proclaiming that we are that lost 13th tribe born here in North America, and that we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth, of all the ethnic groups on the planet, flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace in the many different languages of our fathers. Of Hotel, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, of Arigani, Allah and Ashe. All greeting words and salutations of peace in many different languages of our fathers. I greet you all in peace. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the TOMA Nation, sometimes known as the Temple of Mercy Association. We are broadcasting live from the Bach Business Center, located at 644 East on 79th Street. On this day, believe it to be Sunday, January the 14th, 2018. Temple of Mercy does not look at January as the new year. We look at April, the month of April 1st being our new year. I will go into that at a later date. I am Brother Minister Raheem Kased Akim, the founder of the TOMA Nation, which is an all-inclusive, yet a black conscious, even more of a righteous movement dedicated solely to the upliftment of our people, black people in North America and then around the world. And one of my greatest helpers is our co-founder, Brother Minister Omari Jahiatu, along with the First Lady of this movement, Sister Makita Aisha Ata. As we go forward, I want you all to know that if you all have not looked at our Facebook page, which is under TOMA Nation 2, TOMANATION, I believe it's the number 2 there. That's the who? And the reason I mentioned that is because, you know, a lot of times because you just now coming to the knowledge of an organization, you may think that they are new. But we are not necessarily new. We've been around since 1990. Soon to be celebrating 26 years in the liberation and the upliftment of our people, and doing the work of spreading health, wealth, and knowledge of self from a spiritual aspect. So we are not new. We've had lecture tapes, and back during the time when it was cassette tapes. And so if you would like to know more about us, look us up on those pages. Or stop by at 644 East 79th before we close out. And come and help us to help you to help our people. That's all we're doing. Today is supposed to be the day before one of our esteemed leaders, Earth Day, Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A lot of our younger people don't know who he is. They just believe that he had a dream. And they don't know too much more about the things that he had done that led up to that speech. And even the things that was done after that speech. Most of us don't know. A lot of us, because what King stood for has been basically promoted in the media and described and interpreted by those other than us. And when I say other than us, other than black people, we wind up believing what they want to show us as the legitimacy of the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And then they stand back and watch us fight over his philosophies and over the things that they show us or share with us that he may have said. I would say that if you want to really know and be close to the truth as to what might have been said during those times, would be to get with someone that walked with him. I would suggest Harry Belafonte. I would suggest, I think he's a state rep or a senator, what's his name? The older gentleman. I don't remember his name, but he's in Congress. And he was with them when they were on the Pettus Bridge and being, shot at and beat down and whatnot. Roy something. What's his name? What was you going to say? No, not Andrew. Don't ask Andrew. Do not ask Andrew Young. May I say that you can't ask the ones who got bought. So, Louis who? He's an older gentleman. When you find out, let me know, because I want you all to know. And I want to say that during this same time of us celebrating his Earth Day, or observing it and recognizing it, is the beginning of the ushering in of this political atmosphere. Voting for certain politicians that are running for different offices in government. And they pop up and they run and use Martin Luther King's civil rights strategies and some of the things that he asked us to do, they take it and run with it, and some of your handkerchief head leaders who are part of the system of this world will tell you that you should vote. Now, I'm not against voting. You need to know that. But you got to start breaking this thing down. Because you can't just vote because somebody say vote. You can't vote just because somebody say Martin Luther King died so that we can vote. That's the wrong reason to vote. Matter of fact, he didn't die so we could vote.
Sir.
If you really want to know the truth, he didn't. He died fighting for us to have a choice when we didn't have a choice at all.
That's right. Say that.
When you got on the bus, you didn't choose where you had to sit. They told you where to sit. When you wanted to go to the washroom, you didn't have a choice at which one you were going to use, which toilet. You were going to the one that said Negro. You wasn't going to the one that said white. If you decided you wanted to get something to eat, you didn't have a choice of which restaurant you was going to go to. You was going to go to the one they allowed you to go to. And if it said whites only, you could not go there. If there was a movie in town or a theatrical review of something in town and blacks wanted to go also, you didn't have a choice where you could go and sit in the theater with white people. You had to sit in the balcony and white people were on the main floor. Am I right, brothers and sisters?
Yes, sir.
You didn't have a choice of where you were going to go, or even if you were traveling on the road. You didn't have a choice which hotel you was going to stay in. You stayed in the one that said colored only.
That's right.
Only. If you had to go off the road and go into a gas station to use the toilet, if it said whites only, you could not pull over on the road and go use that toilet. You had to pull over on the road, all right, but you was going to use that little field out there to use the bathroom. And I mean number one and two. And they didn't care if you was a male or a female or a child. Brothers and sisters, if some of this sound like 2017, don't try to deny it. Because right now you can go in certain restaurants and they won't let you order your child use the bathroom.
Why did we say 2018?
Right now. There are places right now in 2018 that you can want to pull over and take your child into their restaurant and they won't let them use the washroom. Certain subways, certain different stores. I know this, because I hear the incidents, things like that happen. There was a brother, because they wouldn't let his son use the bathroom at the subway, he told his son to pee right there on the floor.
Oh.
And he did. His son did. And they left out. Because it's still the same. Some of them say, if you're not going to buy anything, you're not going to the bathroom. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, they do that.
Well, absolutely.
Oh, customers only.
So we got to understand that Martin Luther King fought for what he called equal rights. Equal rights. That when you get on the bus, you sit where you want. You go in the restaurant, you sit where you want. You go see a play or a movie, you sit where you want. You pull up to a gas station, you use the washroom. He gave us the ability, he fought that we would have that ability to be treated equal as everyone else on the planet. And that's what he fought for. Now when you go and deal with this voting thing, stop that bullcrap that if you don't vote at all, this vote for the enemy. Who the hell is the enemy when the Democratic and Republican Party is our enemy?
That's right. There you go.
Tell me. I'll give you the mic. So now, Let's talk about it then. You have a choice. That if you take the time and listen to who's ever running, and whichever party it is, Democrat or Republican, and you study him or her, and you find out about them and their background, then you look in the past and find out what have they done for us lately. That's what you got to look for. And if it comes up zero, they don't get your vote. And if it ain't nobody else to vote for, you have a choice. Vote anyway, or put your vote back in your pocket and leave. That's what he died for, to give us a choice, but there was none. Now, if you turn around and think that you're going to let them use that thing about if you don't vote, it's one for the enemy, this and that, you must vote, you got to vote, then you losing your right to have a choice. So you're not standing for what Martin Luther King said, you're using Martin Luther King. That's what you're doing. All of us talking about, it's another group said that he's responsible for the condition black people in because economically speaking, when he went for this thing called integration, then we lost out. Okay, let's look at that, y'all. True. We did lose economically when he sought for us to integrate. But I have to be honest with you, that ain't his fault. It's the truth, it happened, ain't his fault. I don't know nowhere in my study and listening to Martin Luther King where he said, and if you do, you show me and I'll come back next Sunday and apologize. You show me where he said, brothers and sisters, we are going to integrate. We're going to leave our businesses and support their businesses. We're going to drop all black business and we're going to run to their businesses. Did you see it anywhere? Show me. Show me where he said it. And I bet you won't find it. See, that was a matter of your interpretation. And again, letting people who really wasn't for our best interest interpret to you what he was trying to do. And that's what our challenge is. Think, brothers and sisters. Think. We already had a microchip in our head. What was going on? Here's what was going on. There was other ethnic groups who had a concept in their minds and in their hearts that they still have now. And that concept was dealing with economics, dealing with any kind of business relationship. And that business relationship was this. You buy from us and we buy from us. That's their mentality. We weren't taught that mentality. And so at the time when we began to integrate, we only had one thought. We buy from them. We don't buy from us. We buy from them. And because we didn't have that proper understanding, and I do have to blame a certain bourgeoisie group for not training and teaching us the proper mentality. And I'm talking about the NAACP. If W.E.B. Du Bois wanted to do something, then he should have had workshops and all and trying to teach and direct and guide our brothers and sisters as to the proper understanding of this economic relationship that we're supposed to have if we're going to fit into that same flow of things with the rest of the other ethnic groups. But because we didn't understand it and didn't know it, we just abandoned our stuff and just went for the white people's stuff, and that's how we lost out. But King didn't tell you to do that. Prove me wrong. See, in the past, there were other groups, black groups, that spoke negative about King. And I have to be honest on that one. We had to. We had to. At that that time, during that climate, we had to. Because when things were getting out of hand, and he had no control of most of the people that was around him and with him, they were making deals under the table to snuff him out, his own people. I started naming. It's about to come out. If it come out, I ain't going to stop it. And he had so much happening. People speaking in this ear and in that ear. While he's trying to make decisions, so he would fast. He would pray. He would study. He would try to seek guidance from a higher power than those that were around him. And during that time, he saw some things happening in other countries that looked similar to what was happening to us over here. So he started something called the Poor People's Campaign, dealing with our poverty, bringing our poverty and our plight to the media, because he had the media's attention at that time. But people like Malcolm X and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they had to bring the other side of things to picture, because most of our people thought that that was the only way, and it was not the only way, and there is nobody among us that has the only way. Sorry to say. We have a way, but it's not the only way. There are more pieces to the puzzle. And our job is to sit at the table and put those pieces on the table and help one another to place those pieces where they fit, so we can see the whole picture and then move on the picture that's been revealed to us. But as long as we stay separated with our piece, over here and over there and over here and over there, there is no unity. It's getting to what I'm ready to talk about. This unity speech that Martin Luther King wrote to the preachers when he was in the Birmingham jail. Because his greatest enemy to our rise were the preachers. Not that they had the power to stop them, but they were in a position where the enemy was talking to them against him. And because they wanted a new wing to their church, or some new something, or money funneled into their church some kind of way, they were willing to give him up. They were willing to accept that this brother was some sort of what you may call a bad seed among the black community. That he's stopping us from moving forward. All the gains that the NAACP had made and getting close to the white man and sitting in his lap and all whatever else that we can do with the white man, all these gains that the NAACP had made, here's old Martin Luther King about to mess all that up for us. That's how they felt. And so they began to go against him. He came to Chicago. The mayor at that time was Mayor Richard Daley. And Mayor Richard Daley said, if any of you preachers welcome him and march with him and be with him, y'all got to see me when he leaves the city. Oh yeah, preachers today are still in the mayor's pocket. Whatever mayor of this city is now, it's preachers in his pocket. It's preachers that sat at his table. It's preachers that he called to the table. Look, let me tell you all something. I ain't crazy. Ain't nothing wrong with being called to the table. My whole thing is, what are you bringing? Are you coming with your hat in your hand? Begging? Asking for something that don't benefit the whole community, but just benefit your church? Why are you at the table? He called, yeah. You came, yeah. So what's in it for us? And I didn't say you, I said us. What's in it for us? I'm not about grants, but if you're going to get a grant, try to figure out some kind of grant that you can get where you can call the other preachers to the table, even if it's a matching grant. See, a matching grant makes you have more skin in the game. So if you got a matching grant, and the grant is for us to rebuild our communities, that we can rehab all the houses with the X's on them and have them for the people in the community. That's a good idea to come to the table with that. Hey, why shouldn't he get your vote if you do that? He's helping you build your community. Ask him to put some money together. We got this big building that Walmart done moved out of, and we want to open up a black full-service supermarket. And he say, oh yeah, how much? And he make sure that he open up that door to find a way that we have a full-service supermarket, because we don't have one in the whole state of Illinois, but we only have 11 throughout the whole United States of America. How that sound? So if you're going for something, go for something that's going to benefit the whole entire community. It ain't going to help the whole black nation, but you can start with your community, right? And it can be a prototype example that all the other communities throughout the United States can use in order to present to their mayor, to their governor, and that they will be able to now say that we got 7%. We got about 8, maybe 10, I don't know, so-called agendas, black agendas. You don't even hear other ethnic groups talk about an agenda, do you? They don't have to. It's already made. When they sit at the table, they don't advertise that we at the table. You ever see them go to Chinatown and be all on TV? That everybody at a town hall meeting to have a political thing, and all the Asians present their agenda to the politicians. Y'all ever see that? Y'all ever see the Arabs do it? So something must be wrong with that this thing. That when we do it, here come all of the cameras. Here come everybody to see us stand there with our hat in our hand, begging. Let me say this. And I don't really care how people think of this. I 100% believe in coming out of her way of doing things. This government's way of doing things. I'm like Jesus. When they came to him and they said, well, what about these taxes, Jesus? If you talk about come out of her, Jesus said, hey, simple. Who face on them? Say Caesar's. Jesus said, give back to Caesar that which is his, and walked away. They couldn't stop him from how he paid his taxes, you know, but he paid his taxes. Yeah, because it wasn't his anyway. He said, give back to them that which is theirs. Give them their portion. And see, anything that's within the law and that's not against God, then you should follow it and be an upright citizen. But if it's against the law of God, then you have to go against it. No matter what. If it's unjust, you have to go against it. You have to stand up for it. And that's what Martin Luther King showed us, how to stand up against unjust laws. See, we got to look at these things that he did. Now, when Elijah and Malcolm spoke against him, you know, they got pictures where he met with Elijah, where he met with Malcolm. The only reason they really was not against him, they were telling the people, y'all better listen to him. Because his method and his way, if it don't work, y'all got to deal with us. That's what they were saying. They were letting the people know that he wasn't just there sitting there, and after him ain't no more hope. While he was saying turn the other cheek, they were saying, yeah, hit me and you're going to get hit back. That's what they were saying. While he was saying integrate and come in and be with them, the Nation of Islam was saying, no, do for self, separate, get away from them. So we needed both of those. So we could have a what, y'all? A choice. That's what it's all about. A choice. Well, we didn't have one. His way was not the only way. His way is not the only way. Nationalism and civil rights has to operate together in 2018 in order for us to move forward as a people. But it has to be a devised strategy, operating at the same time. Because the enemy is good at fighting us one at a time. But they can't handle it if you're mixing them together and moving on. We can talk about that in secret. There are some things you don't say in the public. I warn the activists, the community leaders, for giving all your strategy on the air, for constantly on Snapchat and Instagram talking about how you feel about something right then and there and what you're going to do about it. And they're going to make a move. They made some moves already. They're going to make moves to eliminate you and silence you under the new COINTELPRO called Black Identity Extremists. That's the new COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program. So I'm saying to us, study Martin Luther King, study the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, study Mahatma Gandhi. Stop letting this bullcrap stop you from seeing past what you need to see and see what you have to see. A lot of times you'll see something negative in a book and it was put there just to throw you off, and you'll close the whole book and miss out on all the glory on the other side. We need to stop that. Just stop it. See, Martin Luther King, you got to study him. You got to study Elijah. You got to study Malcolm. You got to study Marcus Garvey. You even got to study the Honorable Noble Jew Ali. They did something. They're saying something. But after that's over, well, the study part ain't never over. But after you learn what you need to know, then study what you hear me saying about us being this lost 13th tribe, born in North America, and that we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. Take that. Study what I'm saying. Then question me on it. I said we are that lost 13th tribe that everybody been talking about. I'm talking about the black man and woman born here in North America. That is the group that I'm talking about. Descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade. Because if they wouldn't have survived, we wouldn't have been here. So I'm sorry, those who are not of that lineage, I'm not talking to you. That's just the truth. Somebody might say, well, my parents wasn't never in the slave thing. Well, I'm not talking to you. Somebody can say, well, what about me? I was born in Africa and I just came over here. My parents was never part of it. I'm not talking to you either. I'm very specific. The children of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade are the lost 13th tribe, born in North America, and that we all a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I'm saying we are a new people. And during the 400 plus years of us being under tremendous pressure, the Creator created a whole new people here in North America. And now we have to come into our own and be ourselves. And we got to take whatever gift and talent that comes from having the blood of all the nations flowing through your veins. You got to take that talent that comes from that mixture and use it to free your mind, to free yourself, and then to free your people. The blueprints have been laid out for us. The economic blueprints have been laid out for us. Set aside your differences. Set aside your philosophical differences, your religious differences. Leave them outside the door and really come together and do what we need to do. Expose anybody that comes among us in our group and act as if they are with us. And then the moment that it looks like there's an opportunity to gain some sort of financial thing, that you'll take it and sell us out We got to start naming you by name on social media, whether you like it or not. We have to name you. That's what I'm saying we have to do. But don't do it without proof. Don't just do it because you assume. But have two witnesses that back you up to say that that person's soul is out. If you're going to use social media, then use social media. There's a way. So I'm going to read this because I only have a few minutes. Martin Luther King wrote this. He was in Birmingham jail. He had gotten arrested. Nothing wrong with being arrested for doing right. And ain't too many people in jail for that. But to be arrested for doing right is an honor. It's an honorable move because you stood for something that was right. And if you don't stand on something, somebody else will stand on you.
But if you're
I promise
if you're in prison for nothing, that's what you have.
9 times out of 10, if a person is wrongly accused of something, it's part of a karma that when they kept doing what they were doing and getting away with it, they got caught for something or charged for something they didn't do. I have people that I know right now in jail for something they didn't do, but all the stuff that they were doing, they never got caught for. That's called karmatic energy. It goes around and comes around eventually. So be careful. All of them ain't so innocent. They innocent of that, but they ain't innocent of what they never got caught. King wrote this letter from a city jail in Birmingham, Alabama, where he was confined after being arrested for his part in the Birmingham campaign, which was a planned nonviolent protest conducted by Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights and King's Southern Christian Leadership Conference against racial segregation. I want to say something to them. If we are to march as a people, and as you look on the in the media, and you hear all these people now mad at Trump, and they're mad because he called certain states
Shithole countries.
SHIT states or countries with a hole in it. And so everybody's upset. And everybody want to march and they want to protest. And black people are all in it too. Brothers and sisters, I warned you when I spoke about the science of chaos in 2016 in the month of July. I said that white people would be fighting among each other. I broke it down with the WASP. I broke it down to the rednecks. I broke it down to Britain. I broke it down to all these other groups of white people fighting among themselves. I told us, stay out of it. Come together, mobilize, galvanize. While they're up there fighting and running off at the mouth, they ain't looking at you now. Move out economically. Do the things we need to do. Take a risk. Get back on our feet economically. Buy land. Buy commercial business. Go into business. Get your degree. Help your people. Walk your community. Stay out of their fight. If they march, let them march. You don't need to march. We don't give a damn what he said about the black countries. Why should you? He's just telling you what he thought about them all the time. And he's telling you what most of the white folks in power in his position think about it. Be grateful and clap for him that he opened that door to let you know how his people think.
I like my enemies honest.
All you got to know is your history. The father of this damn city, Chicago, is a Haitian. Jean or Jean Baptiste Point du Sable was a Haitian. So what in the world we sit up there worried about? He called him a S-hole country. Well, I guess when he stepped in Chicago, it became an S-hole city. You see what I'm saying? I saw Irish, Greek, Lithuanian people coming on CNN and these other channels I turn to, talking about their families when they came here and that they are immigrants and they crying. Damn it, don't you shed a tear. We are not immigrants. We are not immigrants. We did not migrate. We were forced against our will to come here. And just to make it very clear to you, some of our ancestors were already here when we got here. So that is not our fight. That fight on that level. We got to come together. I'm telling you, it is time. No more playing around. No more all this trying to slide left and right and dance on top of marshmallows. Yeah, I know you got to talk with white people. I know you got to negotiate with white people. I know you got to sit at the table because most of the crumbs is in their pocket and you need some of those crumbs. And I know your bills need to be paid. I know your car note need to be paid. I know your house note. I know all of that. Damn it, there comes a time when we got to sacrifice just so that we can get what is rightfully ours. Sometimes you have to. I heard somebody say one day Martin Luther King's family was poor. Malcolm X's family was poor. And I'm not going to go that route. So I'm not going to be a martyr. If you walked out this door and got shot, look at me.
God wants you there.
Who puts the term martyr on you in the first place? The media. How about removing the term martyr and say murdered? Now, let's see who all fits in that line. So we can all be murdered at any given point in time. So what's your excuse now? Now that we got it right. I don't want to be a martyr. Oh, you don't want to be murdered. Well, if it's that time, you out of here. And you ain't going to stop it. And you ain't going to prolong it. It's going to happen. Whichever way you're going out, you're going out. And that's why you hear people say, can't nobody kill me. Because they really can't. Do you remember the story of Job? Remember, he was a person after God's own heart. And his whole family was protected. He was the richest man in that town. He had all kind of livestock, cattle, land, homes, everything. He was doing good. And he kept God first. But some evil influence came in his midst as usual. And this evil influence, for some reason, could not influence his children against him. They could not even influence his wife at that time, or his friends. So they had to take it up to a higher level. This is how the enemy does. He goes into an esoteric realm that you refuse to learn about and deals with certain energies in that realm and then takes it and uses it against you. Well, in the Bible, they said it was the devil. But I thought I'd break it down just a little bit better than just that. I'm tired of y'all seeing a man with tights on and a fork doing something else. So I'm saying that this evil influence was allowed to be released among his Job and his family. So a hurricane came and destroyed all his livestock. His house was destroyed. But at the same time, he did not deny the existence of the Creator no matter what happened to him. So he became sick and had sores all over his body. They wouldn't heal. They stopped running, pulsing, and infection. They had to take him and dig a hole and put him in the hole up to his neck because he stunk so bad. His wife at that time said, oh my God, the spirit got in her, say, what kind of God do you serve? You need to cuss this God out and go on and die. He said, silly woman. Is that what he said? Foolish woman. You done messed up now. He said, naked I came into the world, naked I'll be when I leave this world. All the days of my appointed time on this planet, I'm going to wait until my change comes. What am I saying? When I say sacrifice, I mean you got to sacrifice, but you got to be connected to that higher power. You got to know that even though you're down, the light is at the end of the tunnel. But you got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. Brothers and sisters, we're not going to get to our next level of freedom until we stand up. Until we stand up. I'm working on putting together a group of brothers and sisters who want to go out and hit our community starting in the spring. Walking around talking to our people, listening to our people, finding out what their needs are, then coming back to look for places and things and organizations that can meet those needs and make sure they can be helped. I'm talking about us not only just going doing that, but also being on the lookout for them. I know you don't understand what I mean by that, but you ain't going to like what I'm going to say when I tell you. When I say be on the lookout for them, I'm saying that if you see your young brother or sister out there selling loose squares and you saw the police down the street, you need to go warn your sister or your brother to get away from that area and go somewhere else because the police is on its way. Now, I know you weren't going to agree with that, was you? That's why I asked you at the beginning to go to the root of things, to really find out what's going on. Because, see, you on the surface saying good riddance. You on the surface saying, yeah, they shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. But you're saying it because it ain't your son. It ain't your daughter. It ain't you. It ain't your nephew or your niece. So you can say that. Then you'll be another Negro who all to himself and say, hell, my nephew's in jail. They needed to be there, this, that, too. Okay. All right. Then fine. If you that person and I hear crap like that come out of your mouth, you won't walk with me. Yes, even if they selling marijuana and weed, we're going to warn them if we see the police getting ready to arrest them. Prayerfully, we can stand between them and the police that they won't get arrested. Our job is to get to our brothers and sisters before the police. Our job is to try to help them get on their feet before they find themselves locked up in jail. Our job is to follow them home and look at their living condition. Our job. That's our job. That's what we're supposed to do. Not talk about it. Not point down at them like they fell out of a tree some damn where they came from you and me. They are our responsibility. They didn't make the weed. Right now, somebody's figuring out a way who don't look like us how to wrap individual cigarettes and have them for sale. They ain't going to go to jail for it. Right now, out of all the people that went to jail selling marijuana, they found a way so that it can be sold now and nobody goes to jail while somebody's setting up in jail now for the same thing. Hundreds of years ago, sugar was against the law.
Alcohol.
Yes. Now they found a way to sell it. Alcohol was against the law. And they found it because, and let's be honest, it wasn't because they found Al Capone making it. No, deep down in the South, when the white man had us in those fields, we out how to step on grapes and all kind of whatnot, and made wine for ourselves and moonshine for ourselves. And then they took the recipes. Then they ran with it. And until the white man could figure out how can they disseminate the money among themselves so they can prosper from it, they made it illegal till they can figure it out. Once they figured it out, now it's legal. We were thriving in our communities and neighborhoods by playing a little innocent game. What number is everybody going to say today? I'll get 10 on it, I'll get 15 on it. And then one person get paid, the rest of it go back into the community. White man saw it, wasn't getting the cut, started arresting us.
Yep.
Then when he found out how to make it legal, it became the lottery.
Yes, sir. Say that.
I'm telling you, that's what they're going to do with the new squares. Now you see why I'm going to warn my brother? Somebody walk around with a shirt that was Warner Brother Records, and it said, if you see the police, Warner Brother.
Warner Brother. I like that. Warner Brother.
Got the shield and everything, you know. See, I told you, this movement, we are very unorthodox. But you've got to be unorthodox in order to make change. If you are just going according to how everything goes, you can't make change. The only way things new came about was because somebody took a risk and went against business as usual. That's how we advanced. If Harriet Tubman wouldn't have got some kahunas, because the men didn't have them, and decided to take a chance and break away from the plantation, they didn't have a compass back then. I don't know if y'all knew that. There wasn't no GPS. They didn't have, all they had was the stars and the sun and the moon. That was it. And on the deep esoteric level, they had the trees. I'll explain it to you one day. But that was their compass. Now, coming from across the sea, even if they had a compass telling them which way to go, they just knew that if they went somewhere, it was away from the master's house. But they didn't know that they could have been being led right back to another plantation. They didn't know. They could have been led into a town where none but white people was at and killed them. She didn't know, but she took a chance. She took a risk. And she had some sense, brothers and sisters, that if anybody decided to stop and say they couldn't make it, that would be a person who the enemy would find, and that person would tell where they are and where they were going. That's why she said to her husband, you said you can't make it no further? I love you, but I love my freedom better. You either going to get up and go, or you're going to die where you are. He got up and he drug himself some kind of way, one leg behind the other. They don't record she had to shoot anybody, but I can rest assured knowing black people, she had to shoot somebody.
Yep. Yes, sir.
It ain't recorded, but I know some niggas I would shoot if I believe in guns. Oh, you didn't know I'd say that, did you? But I don't believe in carrying guns. And that's probably why. Let's be honest. Now, you can carry your gun if you want to. I don't believe in it. But if I have one, Harriet Tubman, I'm coming to be with you. So here's Martin Luther King in the Preachers. See, he entitled his letter A Call for Unity. The clergymen, the preachers agreed that social injustice existed, but they argued that the battle against racial segregation should be fought solely in the courts, not in the streets. See, that's them handkerchief head niggas. They don't believe in taking it to the streets. They believe in, I'm going to sue you. So everybody sue. You stepped on my finger. Lawsuit. You owe me $500, lawsuit. See? Well, okay, if that's what you believe, you go to court, we go to the street. How about that? And so, I only got 5 minutes, but I want you to know that the clergy disapproved of a lot of the moves that King did. And he was a Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. So he did not have the backing of the clergy. Now let me say this too. When you heard me say that there were many Christs, plural, all you got to do is look at the similarities of what a Christ-like person goes through, and you will know that another Christ was among you. You see, the preachers didn't like Martin Luther King, but it was the chief priest that put Jesus to his death. Same group. With the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Jews don't like him. The Jews didn't like Jesus. You got to look at the similarities. And then you'll know Christ was among you. So these people didn't like him, but he wrote the letter anyway. And I'm going to read a little bit in my 4 little minutes here. He said, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across this is to the clergy, he writing to the preachers. He said, I came across your recent statement calling my present activities unwise and untimely. These are the preachers, they got together and got on TV to say that they all joined together to say that Martin Luther King and what he's doing we don't support. And half the preachers today who's founder of their church, most of them, were some of the preachers who went against King and got his picture on the wall to celebrate his holiday tomorrow. Reverend Clay Evans in Chicago was the only preacher that stood behind Martin Luther King when he came here. Reverend Clay Evans, Fellowship Baptist Church. You just have to tell it like it is. And so he said, I got 3 minutes, and we out of here. He said, seldom do I pause to answer criticism of my work and my ideas. If I sought to answer all the criticism that came across my desk, my secretaries would have little time for anything other than such correspondence in the course of the day. And I would have no time for constructive work. But since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill, and that your criticisms are sincerely set forth, I want to try to answer your statements in which I hope will be patient and reasonable terms. I think I should indicate why I am here in Birmingham, since you've been influenced by the view which argues against outsiders coming in. With certain towns you come in, they consider you an outsider. Mm-hmm. Brothers and sisters, there are certain wards in the community where the alderman will not support your cause if you're not from their wards. Yep. That's gang banging on that level. I'm not speaking about something that I think about. I'm telling you something I know. In the 90s, when we were going in different wards to bring our programs that were helping our brothers and sisters in Inglewood, they said, yeah, I will help you, but you are not in our ward. They turned down help, good help, but because we wasn't in their ward. There's some other politician that if you can't promise them a certain amount of votes, they will not let you help your people. And that's why you got to cross the line. That's why you got to be unorthodox and do it anyway. Above the politics of this world, you must do what has to be done. He said, we have some 85 affiliated organizations across the South, and one of them is the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. He said, frequently we share staff, educational, and financial resources with our affiliates. Several months ago, the affiliate here in Birmingham asked us to be on call to engage in a nonviolent direct action program if such were deemed necessary. We readily consented. And when the hour came, we lived up to our promise. So I, along with several members of my staff, am here because I was invited here. I'm here because I have organizational ties here. But more basically, Birmingham because injustice is here. Just as the prophets of the 8th century BC left their villages and carried their "Thus said the Lord" far beyond the boundaries of their hometown, and just as the Apostle Paul left his village of Tarsus and carried the gospel of Jesus Christ so far to the corners of the Greco-Roman world, so am I compelled to carry the gospel of freedom far beyond my own boundaries. Like Paul, I must constantly respond to the Macedonian call for aid. Moreover, I'm cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Alabama and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds. Now, you would say he was speaking for white people. He was talking about black people. See, somebody else ain't interpreted. And that's where we go wrong. He was for black people first. White people came to help, but they had their own ulterior motives. And they always do. Don't forget. When I come back next Sunday, I'm going to finish this letter. Because you need to hear it. Because it sounds like now. We don't have too many leaders out here standing up for real causes. We need people not just standing up dealing with gun violence. Yes, that's a major concern. But don't forget about education and how we're being educated and how they're trying to get us acclimated into the system to understand the new language for family, two adults and a child. How they're trying to make us understand the new language for diversity, transvestites, dykes, lesbians. That's diversity now. They're going to bring that in. So when you see the covering up there and you go and want to join in and be a part of it, you'll see under that what they're really doing. Wake up, brothers and sisters. The time has come for us to get up and do something for ourselves. Thank you all for listening. God bless you. And I keep you. Peace. Hotel. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Abad Gadi. Alafia. Get our shade. Thank you.